All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Open Market Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hope you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Peter. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Carlos. I am good. Just had a Windows upgrade. You know, when you get those updates and it always happens right when you least want it to. So it's throwing me behind here. But other than that, great. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Yes, those comes at a good timing always. So,
I know.
good morning, guys. Hopefully, yesterday was good for you. Today, big day with a lot going on here with the Fed meeting today. PPI coming out in a couple of minutes here, about a minute and a half. We'll see what's happening there. But the big deal today will be, the Fed at 2 and then Powell at 2:30, right? So, looking forward to that. That's gonna hopefully create some volatility for us. Right now, our gap up list as more divided this time. We got some stuff in the green, some stuff in the red. Nothing in the red yesterday on our gap down list. So very interesting. A lot just gapping up or in the positive side. And the gap up list, if you guys remember, was enormous. Like you could have watched anything yesterday, and it probably would have been on this list. But today a little bit more mixed. We'll look at the top five or so. But now it's all about let's see what PPI does, and more importantly, how the market is going to react to that.
Yeah, we eagerly awaiting that. Two big events, as Carlos said today, right? PPI right now, the producer price index. And then the Fed interest rate, that's the big one. Everybody's looking for that. Computers will absolutely react at 2 o'clock, no matter what the number is. And then, of course, we have the press conference that starts at 2:30 or slightly after, when we'll get a different type of reaction. But it's going to be you'll have to be watching that carefully, especially if you're trading at that point in time. So we'll be live with you here in the room. So we'll see what happens this afternoon with that. But right now, yeah, we're just waiting for those numbers to come out. Should be out any second now, as we get an update on what the PPI is. Now, this one is not expected to be too impactful. Numbers are quite modest in terms of change. The estimate is that the PPI itself is going to be down slightly, like 0.1%. Previously, it was 0.2% to the positive, so we'll see if that comes in where we expect. And then the core PPI is expected to be 0.2%, which is exactly what it was last time as well. So we're expecting no change on that. So we'll see what happens when those come in. And then, of course, we have the year-over-year numbers as well. Same as yesterday. Remember, we were doing CPI yesterday. Today is PPI. So we got both of those. And the market hasn't done much yet. So
no reaction to it yet. Let's see. Might take a little bit. Maybe it's not out just yet, but should be fun. Should create something.
They're usually pretty.
Or maybe this
pretty
is it.
accurate.
Maybe it's not a big deal. Everybody's waiting for two. I'm sure we'll get some.
It could be. Maybe this is all we're gonna get. That's it. That's wow. That's glad you woke up early. That's anyways. It's it's a pretty muted reaction. If that's the reaction, I don't see the
that's it.
The
man.
numbers
are out. I mean, market doesn't care. Market
I'm starting to see some of the numbers in. So the PPI declines 0.3%, whereas the expectation was 0.1. So that is below the forecast. But not by much. I mean, we're 0.2% difference here, but that's what we've got. The core PPI year over year was expected in at 2.9, and it's at 2.8, which makes sense. It's down a little bit because of the unexpected decrease in the PPI. So a little bit of a difference. Interesting. The core PPI, if you take out food and energy, was flat in May, just like what we talked about yesterday. Food and energy seem to be the big drivers of inflation recently. So pretty balanced, slightly off the expectations, right? Which would have had it up to 0.2%. It's flat. Expected down by 0.1 on the overall PPI, and it was down by 0.3. So slightly lower, but that's also actually good against what the market wants to see happen, right? Because that just further proves that the activities the Fed have undertaken are taking effect and the economy is cooling slightly, which is what they want to see. So it sort of makes sense, I guess, that the markets don't seem to have reacted much at all to that. So they're
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
pretty happy with those numbers. And yeah, we can now just look at the gappers. So next event, remember, 2 o'clock. That's the big one.
yeah, absolutely. Market did not care one bit about that. Again, we know we kind of know the big day is the big time will be at 2 p.m. today. So Eastern time that is. Let's look at our gappers list, guys.
Yeah.
Let's get into this. I'm gonna remove the stuff from yesterday. Control A, Control X gets rid of that on our Dash Trader Pro platform. And then here, let's start in with Wet G. WETG here. So what we got going on here? We saw this before, I
So
believe.
that's new. It
Yeah,
just popped up. It wasn't there a minute ago.
yeah, it just got going. 70,000 dropped in the last couple of minutes here. This thing, if you guys remember, was big a few days ago. I remember the name here, and it
Well,
wasn't great. Wasn't great. So,
no. So
um,
the news that was it's a few days old now, but it really I think it's just continuing to trade on. Look at where the price was before, Carlos. See that line that's basically at zero.
yeah,
So
five
if you
cents.
want a stock to avoid, so the reason why it popped up to $7, it did a 1 for 185 share reverse split. I've never seen
Jeez,
one that big before. 1 for 185. That is impressive, actually.
that is
So
wild. That is wild.
yeah.
Um,
So
Never seen anything
this is still
like
a
this.
stock
Yeah,
that's worth. It's essentially worth zero. It just happens to have done. They multiplied their price by 185 times, and here we are. So yeah, I mean, yeah, move on.
yeah, absolutely. Let's look at one that was probably going to look much, much better. It's worth more than a penny there. It's going to be Plug. So Plug here is up 9.1, 2 million shares trade today. So nice pop on Plug this morning. Good pre-market activity. Peter, this is looking nice today.
Yeah, this is anticipated news in this case. So they're doing what they call their Investors Day. That's sometime this later today, and it's moving up, sort of on the expectation that they're going to hear some good stuff out of Plug. So who knows whether that actually happens or not? But we're seeing obviously volume and some price action movement in advance of that Investors Day. Haven't heard any leaks about what they're expected to hear, but again, there seems to be enthusiasm. So that's the
Hmm.
news. Actually, I don't have the time. If anybody knows, that would be helpful. I don't know what time this investor day starts. Um, I just know the
Yeah,
analyst
I
day.
don't.
Sorry,
Yeah,
analyst day as they're calling it. Yeah, I see the news articles on it, but I don't see when. So because the when will be important because especially those that are getting the information live, that's when we'll start to see the stock move. I'm not sure if it's after the market close or if it's going to be sometime this afternoon. I'm just here. It's 11 a.m. Eastern. Okay, so and you can join the webcast. They actually have a live link.
yeah, yeah.
What's happening?
With.
Sorry, I've got music in
Oh,
my ear.
oh.
Okay.
It ain't coming
Must
from
be
me.
on my side. I don't know what's going
It
on.
is.
Anyways, so yeah, 11 o'clock. So yeah, if you're playing Plug, be aware 11 to 12:30 is the webcast for this analyst day. So we could see price movement again. It's going to be one of those reactive, right? People that like what they hear or don't, or aren't sure. So be aware of Plug is starting at 11. So I'm gonna, sometimes those are fun just to watch. They're not always easy to get a trade on them, but I'm gonna put it on a secondary here until we see if we find others.
Yeah, yeah. Again, big pop here, guys, on this one. So I like the move right now. I like the volume and the gap up today. It might not stay here depending on what else we find, but definitely at least a possible this morning. Let's take a look at COHR. This is coherent, and they are. We saw this before. They trade horrible, guys. Very light volume. So not really interested in what they got going on. They're up 7.8. 152,000, which again, extremely light volume. This is how they trade, right? But just you think it looks good, but look down here. You're trading 83,000, 60,000 on a 5 minute. For us and the way we trade, this can be brutal, right? So the spread can be massive on something like this. You got to be very, very careful. I don't like it. I'm going to move on to something else. I think we'll find better opportunities. Next on the list is LI.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
can you?
like the news on it, by the way, I
Yeah.
don't like how it looks either. But apparently, they're a scientific equipment company, but they've signed two different deals to provide precision welding equipment, high speed precision welding for EVs, EV manufacturing. So you just mentioned EV, and I think that's why they're getting a little pop. So there you go. That's the news in COHR, but not a good trader.
Yeah,
Good
and what they should have done is precision welding using AI. If they didn't do AI, they could have had double the power there of AI and EV.
they
So
absolutely,
someone
yeah,
messed up, man. Whoever's in the
yes,
marketing team that
not
did not
thinking.
think about that, we should not be thinking about it here for them. They need to get fired, or at least trained. Let's go here. Next one on the list, GCT this morning. It's up 6.5. Oh, just brutal. Volume 100,000. There is really not much going on here, guys. It just looks horrible. So I want no parts of this. Popped up here, sold off a couple of days ago, just back to $7. It just it looks like a disaster. It's a train wreck here.
The,
Um,
they announced a share repurchase program, so that's just why we're seeing the movement. But like you said, not much to write home about. Small float, 16 million float. They're repurchasing $25 million value worth of shares. So that's
mhm.
only what would that be? What is their current stock price? Yeah, that's only like a tenth of their float, if that. So 5% or so. So, anyways, yeah, not big news.
Yeah, yeah. Another EV on here is Neo. So Neo is up 3.3. Look at the algo like a chart that we got going on here in this pre-market. Yesterday's pre-market action, it had some decent activity. I didn't have it on my list. I think Neo is its good days are well behind it, but it did move, 20 cents from 870 to 890. I think you can find better opportunities of stocks that can move much better. But again, it's up here today, another 3.1 with volume 1.3 million. I just don't have hopes of it trading decent at the market open.
Yeah, I
So
mean, actually, we're seeing on the Gap up list all of the, or a lot of the EVs, Li,
yeah.
Neo, XPEV, they're all sitting on here. Neo announced price cuts on their lineup yesterday. Yeah, XPEV, XPeng is the name of the company. I always get confused when I try and say that. XPeng is the name of the company. XPEV is the symbol. Anyways, they are launching a new lower cost model. So, the general, statements are that Tesla had reduced their pricing, and it's sort of forcing the market to follow. So, the car market in China is fascinating. I was reading an article the other day about a knockoff, a company that's built an exact replica of the Porsche Macan, and it's selling for about a third the price. And
Mm.
it's shameless. Like, they literally have ripped off everything about it. And there's nothing you can do in China. They're considering suing, but many car companies, Ford has had models ripped off. I think they're currently in a lawsuit, and they never win the lawsuits. It doesn't matter. So it's
It's
just
China.
crazy that they could do that.
What are you gonna do? I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah. The
Uh,
Chinese courts are not sympathetic to copyright laws and patent infringements. They just say, hey, if someone can produce it, then
yeah.
and you can always
It,
point to
it
some,
just
like,
it
there's a
just
screw in a different spot, so it's different.
let's think about the setback, Peter, real quick. And we got a couple of minutes here. If you're in the market for a Porsche, you're not going to suddenly say, "Oh, I could get one in China for a quarter." It's not the same
Yeah,
type of people that are buying those type of cars. So the people that are buying that car, that's a quarter of the price, are not going to be able to afford the Porsche ever in probably in their lifetime, right? Think about that, right? So I don't know why Porsche is mad. Let it be. Let them have fun. It's marketing for your car somewhere else. Just let it go.
yeah. Well, and
It's
that's sort of their argument that they're making there as well. Oddly, that is apparently a legal argument that is valid, saying, it's not the same market. We're not targeting the same people. Land Rover had one of their cars like directly copied. They called it the Landwing, and it's like the exact a replica. So, anyways, it's just fascinating what
yeah.
happens over there, which makes it impressive that Tesla. So, back to stocks here, that they've been able to compete so well because they're not. super cheaply priced, but they are competitive in the market. And with so many EVs, both trying to copy and doing unique things, it's actually a pretty tight market in China. So it's interesting, that whole EV market. I don't think it'll be long. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already, where we've seen more of the Chinese models come to North America. I don't know what the challenge is. Maybe it's on the safety controls, or well, it wouldn't be. I was going to say emissions controls. Wait a second. Probably not a problem. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
whatever the reason is, I'm sort of surprised that we haven't seen them try and make inroads to the European and North American markets more, because there's just so many of the brands. You'd think they'd be looking for market share opportunities and would be driving towards the expansion. But anyways, we'll see what happens. So
Yeah,
EVs
yeah.
this morning, yeah, like it looks like you can sort of pick one, and they're moving. We got some volume. I mean, XPAV and LI are better options for me recently than Neo. We did talk about Neo the other day, and much as expected, it had a little bit of movement, but then it fell back to the algo sort of trading profile after around lunchtime. So yeah, I'd rather go with an XPEV or something like that myself.
Yeah, yeah. And Neo's on the banded list for now, at least. Um, but
Yeah, if
XPF,
you really
yeah.
want to trade an EV, you just stick with the grandfather of EVs. You just trade Tesla. I mean, it's a higher price, but Tesla's the one, right? Like,
It's on here.
it
It's on
moves.
here already, guys. 3.4
Yeah.
million shares traded, up 1.4. Yeah, Tesla is definitely in play. I mean, Tesla is becoming more of it's a car company, obviously, but now with the charging and Ford, GM, going with these guys, I mean, it's getting insane. So they're really becoming a giant here. I mean, they are already, but man, it's just on top, on top, on top of just good news for them. So, um,
Yeah. And the
it's
good news
great.
has continued for Tesla. It's reflected in their stock price. But Carlos, as you
Yeah.
say, like, it is impressive that they've signed a deal where both GM and Ford are jumping on board their supercharging network. Which, I mean, can you, like, 10 years ago? I don't even know if you have to go back that far. But can you imagine, like, if someone would suggest Ford and GM would partner with Tesla, they would have laughed you out of their boardroom, saying we would never. They're just like a wannabe car company, and like they just it's I'm sure that they had disdain for Tesla, but now, like, we can see who's in control, certainly, of this
Yeah,
market
yeah,
segment.
yeah, absolutely, man. That is the future, whether you like it or not. It's coming, and you're absolutely right. People would have laughed at this a long time ago, and or not so long ago. Here's SoFi, guys,
Yeah.
up 3% this morning, 2.3 million shares traded. Um, Pre-market action. I mean, it just not a whole lot going on besides the gap up. It's one that I personally don't trade very well, or I think I avoid it because I just don't like the way the price action forms. If you like this one, maybe have it on your list. I won't, just because I just don't like it. But looking at this daily, man, it's just been running 550 now at 950. It's been on a tear. I don't recall what the news is driving this one, but it's been cranking here. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've had some good news with some of their credit offerings, basically, that they've had, targeting some different market spaces. Generally, the analysts are pretty bullish on their future prospects, and the company's got some big plans. So that's been reflected over the last 3 weeks or so in their stock price, as you said, Carlos. And nothing really new on this, other than they're continuing to execute on their plan, and until we hear some bad news, it's likely to sort of slowly continue in this direction.
Yeah, yeah. So there it is. That's doing well on the daily, at least. All right, let's do two more here: AMD and Shell, and then we'll look at a few in our gap down, and then we'll get over to you guys. See what you guys like this morning. Here's AMD, guys, up 2.6, great volume, 2.3 million shares traded, gapped up yesterday, sold off like many of our stocks did. We had Oracle did the same thing, big gap up to 123. Didn't really get past the high of the pre-market, looks like, or the high of the day. Is that the pre-market? Yes, the high of the pre-market. Went to it, rejected it, and from there just sold off the entire day. So very, very nice short opportunity, overreaction yesterday on that gap up. So if you took advantage of that, you did very well. But today we look at AMD popping up a little bit after selling off. I do like the volume this morning on it. We'll take a look at their partner in crime here, which is Nvidia. Nvidia also was green, slightly down now. 1 million shares traded. I like this one as well. So we'll add those two on there. These two are going to be great. Also, you can have two lists today, guys, because we have two market opens. There's the market open at 9:30, and there's another market open at 2 p.m. when things go wild again. So these
That's a
will
good way
most
to look at
likely
it, actually. Yeah.
most likely will be in play. Um, take it.
Um,
Yeah.
so AMD is on our list today because yesterday, if you remember, we were waiting for the chip announcement. So they were talking about their competitive chip, the
Hmm.
MI300 series. The CEO Lisa Su announced at that conference that they were holding that two chips out of that series, the MI300X and MI300A. Anyways, direct competitors to the AI generative language type chip. Look, the analysts are all over the place on this. It's a great chip. It's a direct competitor. But on the other side, they're also saying, well, maybe they're a little late to the game. Is this an also ran play? I mean, it doesn't really matter either way. We're seeing price action movement, and I expect both AMD and Nvidia to continue to benefit from the AI hype because they're at the front end. They're the first one to get real business benefit from it because whether people manage to create profitable AI engines, they're going to need to buy the chips just to put it in practice, and that's where AMD and Nvidia will benefit. So, anyways, good news I think ahead for them, but that's the specific reason why AMD is moving. But both AMD and Nvidia are worth watching today, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Both good volume. And again, depending how the market reacts this morning, at two, these will follow suit, so they can be good ones to keep an eye on. Let's see what's gapping down. That's not doing so hot this morning. IPX it is down at
I don't.
17%, almost
I don't know. You
18.
said you were going to look at Shell if you wanted
Oh
to
yes, let's look at
do that
show.
one. And
Yes, yes, let's look at show.
not one we normally look at, but
Yeah.
they only jump up earnings. This is a UK. This is Shell Petroleum out of the UK. They boosted their dividend and they're cutting their spending. So some good news, I guess, investor based good news out of there. They saw a little bit of positivity in their stock and again dual traded. So you got to be careful about that. It's gapping up this morning largely because of what was happening on the European market. So, but tough trader.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Taking a look at IPX this morning on the gap down list, these guys are down almost 18%. Ran up yesterday from 9 all the way to almost 19, 1850 here. But again, just doesn't look like a great trader. And look at the beginning of this day here, just followed by a couple of halts, eventually settling down at 18 and then coming back down here. So second day play on something like this might not look so well. Doesn't look well now. You don't have inventory for sure. Hard to borrow with Interactive Broker. So it just tells me you're gonna have a hard time trading this thing. So I'm probably gonna stay away
Yeah,
from that one.
they had some good news yesterday with the deal with Ford to produce titanium parts for them. This is just the sort of the fallout, second day play, as you said, against that news yesterday morning.
Yeah. So you have it, guys. Here's Envis, MVIS. We're very familiar with this ticker, always on the gap up or down list. I don't like it. I think it trades horrible as far as the intraday trading stock. Might have been earnings yesterday. Look at this drop we got
Yeah,
after hours here. What happened?
yeah. After the close, they actually announced a secondary offering, so they're going to
Oh,
offer another
yeah.
75 million shares, $75 million worth of shares to the public. So it's that's really that dilutive effect is why it's gapping down.
Yeah, typically not the best catalyst to trade. And then on this stock specifically, obviously it's not a great one. All right, let's look at Logitech. Logitech again, very well known here, but trades horrible as far as day trading. They are down 10% though. That's a big drop for these guys this morning. We'll take a look at what's going on here, but yeah, down 10% today. Not a great trader, so I usually stay away from it. But what's the news on this one, Peter? Logitech down
Uh,
so much today.
Early this morning, the news broke that their CEO is leaving to pursue another opportunity. So, don't know what that means, other than they've probably got a better job offer. But
Mm-hmm.
it seems like it was sort of a surprise departure, at least surprise to the company, and they're scrambling to put a plan in place as a result. So, Logitech's down 10%. I suppose, like we said, if you're an executive that's leaving, that probably makes you feel good, right? That you're
Yeah, it rubs your ego a little bit, you know. Say,
yeah,
hey, I dropped you
exactly.
guys almost $10. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's got to be an
This
ego play, but
this one here, it could be interesting, not for day trading, but man, this is clearly an overreaction. The thing sells itself. You know, the CEO left, so what? You got a whole operation going. You're going to be fine. Be on the lookout for this, man. This could be a serious. If one person holds the control to everything in your company, you're doing something completely wrong, right? So,
Raf,
yeah,
Raf
look
in the
out for
room
that.
says he's not available, not available to take that job. So that's too bad. That company
you
is
you
lost.
you would have crushed it, my friend. Absolutely.
It's funny when you get those opportunities. You make me think of like I went to an interview for a job. I'm like, I don't know if I want this job. This would have been back in 2017, if you picture. I interviewed for the CEO role of a little local company called Canopy Growth, and they actually weren't called Canopy Growth at the time. But anyway, so I interviewed for the CEO role, and I'm like, I came home and I'm like, I don't know, do I want to work for a pot company? Remember, 2017, it was still illegal in Canada. So if I was working for them, they would actually be producing illegal products, but there was a legal way in which they could secure it.
Get
This is
around it,
before
right?
it was legalized. And maybe it was 2016, 2017. Anyways, I was interviewing for that job, and I came home and I'm like, I don't know. And then, of course, the next couple of years, they went public, and then their stock options went crazy. I'm like, I should have taken the job. I would have had tens of millions just on the options alone.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
oh well.
Oh
Anyways,
man. Hey, it happens.
opportunities.
Um,
Yeah.
Here you have, guys. The next one on deck is KURA, and this is down 5.7, 107,000 shares traded. It looks horrible, really. I mean, even the daily, very light on volume. Every day in here, May, June, nothing is above 1.5 million shares traded. That usually translates to horrible, horrible intraday action, right? So, not one that we'll be taking a look at. All right, guys.
The news on
A53,
that
yeah.
is it seems to be secondary offering day, so they are offering another $100 million worth of common stock, which has got it tumbling.
Yeah. All right. So there we go. We'll leave that one alone for now. As far as day trading, looks horrible. All right. Let's take it to you, Peter. What do you like this morning on your end?
Well, look, we've mentioned most of them. I mean, I love AMD. It's been giving me some great opportunities to trade, so we're going to look at that. Going to keep an eye on Apple. Apple is still hanging out in these, all-time high areas. Yesterday was, didn't move a lot. If you look at the daily, candle, it was really quite small. But we're just hanging out here towards the high, and I want to see what's going to happen with it. Tesla, we mentioned in passing. If you're going to watch an EV, I think you got to keep your eye on Tesla to see what it's going to do. Plug we already talked about. Should be interesting after they have that conference starting at 11. And yeah, I think that's about it from what we've talked about. Yeah, just the same old standbys.
All right.
PDX traders asking WTG. We did look at that a little earlier and sort of rejected it. Uh,
PDX?
that's the PDX trader is the name of our member. They're
Oh,
asking us
sorry,
to look
sorry.
at
Yeah.
WETG, which is we looked
Oh,
at. Remember
yes.
the
Okay.
We Trade group, which
Yeah.
was
Yep.
yeah, they were the ones that did this 1-for-185 stock reverse stock split. So really, you've got to divide any price increase here by 185 to understand. The problem is when you get that big of a change in number of stocks out there, it's going to create some odd price action. Today just happens to be the day where we're seeing it. So if you're into low floats, like this is a very low float stock. If you're into trading them, then by all means. But it's just the risk is too high for me. I can't appropriately manage risk against this. I mean, the float is 400,000 shares now, so
Yeah, it's very,
it's
very light, guys.
yeah.
Be very, very careful with this thing. Will be good for entertainment purposes for us, for me at least, right? Entertainment purposes. I always like to get a good laugh once in a while. We'll put it on here.
Sure.
Wet G, 1.1 million shares traded, up 57%. Man, be very, very careful. All right, guys. Let's take it to the room. So you guys like this morning. Andy over on YouTube is giving us a firm. Let's see what's going on there. Yeah, firm starting to drop there. I like the daily on it. Not huge volume, but look at this drop we're getting this morning, guys. Down 3.3, coming after a nice rally here, getting heavy rejection at 19. That could be interesting. Maybe not a one on our main list, but maybe a possible. I think it does have potential on here. That could be our sleeper for today, guys. Here's a sleeper, Affirm. Maybe we can get a drop to 1750, 17. It's a possibility. That could be nice. And we should have plenty of shares for sure. Yes, 7.6 million. So that's more than enough for everybody here. I think we'll be okay. Broccoli Rob, you're giving us FSLY, and if we hop on here,
Ooh,
ooh,
haven't
no, no, no,
heard.
no, 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 not today, not today. At least not now, not this second. There's just no volume on here at the moment. 37,000, and there's really nothing happening. You had a pop yesterday that and even this pop looks so light on volume, right? 5.6
Yeah,
million. And here's the thing, right? If you're joining us new to the chat room or even on YouTube, this looks great now. Now it looks amazing. But at the moment, when you're trying to trade something, when you're only getting, what is this here? 45,000 shares traded, it's very difficult to understand what the price action is doing. You're not even getting enough probably level two information to make a good decision, right? Or order flow. So yes, looks great now after the fact, but while you're sitting in here, you have no idea how to read a price action if this thing is going to go up or down. When it's traded, nothing. Look, it goes for a period. It's just nothing is happening, right? So it's going to be gappy. You're going to be moving up and down sharply. At the end, you can create a nice candle, a nice momentum or trend, not momentum, trend. But being in here in the trenches trying to take a trade, no bueno. Look at the spread now,
pretty hard.
15
Yeah,
cents. Yeah, 15 cents at the moment, and that's probably not going to get too much better into the market open. So just be careful when
yeah.
you see that.
And keep in mind, they did have some news yesterday. They announced a new pricing model for their cloud compute services, which is probably why we saw relatively good price action yesterday. But I don't know that will continue today. So I agree with Carlos. Don't love it for a trading opportunity. But hey, again, we all see something different in it. So if it's something that really strikes your fancy, by all means, right? If you get a good trade in it, then let us know how wrong we were.
Yeah. Oh, I'm never wrong. Hold on a second. I don't agree with that
Oh,
part.
oh, sorry about that.
No, I'm
Me,
kidding.
let me know
But
how
listen,
wrong I was because
yeah,
it's all on
everybody's
me.
different, man. Whatever you like, all right, let's take a look there, guys. And I remember this used to happen with me and Andrew, right? So when I first started, I'll put my list before Andrew does, before I even did the pre-market show, just as a member coming in, brand new, wet behind the ears, and I'll do my list. And Andrew will come on and says, "This is garbage," and that was my top one on the list. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And then you learn as you go that okay, his style is different, my style is different. Some of them I was just not reading correctly because I'm so new. So that's gonna happen. So no, don't get offended if I give you the garbage can on something. And we don't mean you. We mean the stock for the way I trade, right? In some cases, it will be the stock. That's for sure. All right, guys, let's take a look here. So PBR by Marshall. Let's take a look there. We are, yeah, no volume right now. So again, a couple of days ago, it did something, but no volume at the moment. This thing used to be, heavily in play, or at least traded better. It's not really in play right now, so I'm gonna kind of stay away from this one at the moment. Let's get a few more before we hop over to announcement.
What?
Tesla nearing R6. What's up, Peter?
Oh no, I'm just reading an article about the Philadelphia I-95 highway that collapsed. Did
Oh
this
yeah,
happen
yeah, yeah.
recently? Or?
That was like 2 days ago. Yep, yep. So it's
Wow. I,
yep.
I I guess it's not in my area, so I didn't really hear about this. But that's scary.
It's US, man. Our roadways need a lot of help. A lot of help.
Damn.
It's our roads, man. Jersey, especially if you live in Jersey. I don't know where our tax money is going. A lot of the tax money, I don't know where it's going. It's not going to roads, I'll tell you that much. Um, all right, let's take a look here, guys, over on YouTube. What else you guys have? A firm we looked at, BUD. Let's take a look here. No, doesn't trade very well. It's getting a slight pop this morning, but again, just not a whole lot happening there. AI, let's take a look at AI here. AI down 2.1, 500,000. Again, just kind of, I think we could find other things that can play better with AI. So that's just my take on it. Look at it yesterday, though. Yesterday, guys, sideways action and then a nice spike here around 11, ran up real nice. So, it could be a hit or miss with this one. Could be a good
AI was
possible.
rocking and rolling. We were talking about that in the room yesterday.
Yeah.
It was moving real nice. So
Yeah, see that here, man. Nice breakout. Yes, it did nothing in the pre-market. So maybe it could be a good possible. Keep in mind, guys, you do have scanners are available to you. So something like this we'll be hitting your scanners, right? With heavy volume breaking the high of the day, we'll hit that scanner on tradingterminal.com. You can get access to that. You can pick up something like this, right? So definitely have those scanners. Great if you're trading in the later parts of the day here. All right, a few more from YouTube. Let's look at IOBT, new VP, and on this one. Oh, sorry, IOBT. Oh, no. And the reason is it's a penny stock, right? So our strategies trade very different when it comes to a penny stock. So you got to be very careful on that one. So you got some movement there, but again, very, very careful on how that's trading. All right, excellent, guys. Let's get over to community events and announcements. We'll come back and fine tune this list right now. Plug Tesla, AMD, and Nvidia looking really nice this morning. We'll come back and see what else we can add to here as we do levels as well.
All right. Well, tonight is it's Wednesday, which means Wednesdays are psychology day. We talk about trading psychology because look, trading is 80% psychology, right? At least, if not more. We always think it's us against the markets. It's not. It's you against you. So it's important to focus on your psychology, and tonight is an opportunity to do so. Mike is going to be hosting the webinar at 8 o'clock in the webinar room, talking about how to manage optimal decision making and how you can maintain emotional control while trading. So it's a great topic, something that we all need and will benefit from. So hopefully you'll join Mike in the webinar room if you're an elite member. That's at 8 o'clock. Next week's webinar is early time, 5 o'clock, because Creta's with us, back with us, doing a webinar on imagining your way to trading success. That imagery, that as actualization activities, they're amazingly powerful. I'll have to say, as a corporate executive, not something I ever believed in. But since I've been trading, I understand how much more important it is to be in control of yourself and be able to center yourself and visualize the outcomes you're trying to achieve. This is why professional athletes will do it. Olympic athletes do it all the time. It's a very important skill and something you can absolutely apply to your trading every day. So hopefully you'll join us next week, 5 o'clock, again, early time in the webinar room with Creta for that session. It is Wednesday, which means the options chat room is again open. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. People are loving it. And we've had requests even to open it every day of the week, but we got to give these guys a break sometime. So, but Megan and Jared are happy to talk options with you from 9 o'clock. So it's open now until 11. And then again from 12 to 1 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So join them in the options room if you're a member. If not, it's a good time to sign up, and then you can get access to that options chat room as well as the equity chat room we're broadcasting to you live in right now. Thursdays we do mentorship, so tomorrow we will have our mentorship sessions with John and Thor at 11 and 8 o'clock. Hopefully you'll be able to attend those and ask your questions, get them answered in detail. TradingTerminal.com is the place to go if you want your market information. It's got all you need every day. I use it quite heavily, including the live Benzinga news feed. They can give you a live voice. Got it going on here in my ear just to hear what's going on in case anything breaks. We want to be right on top of the news. Plus, you can get written news. You can have scanners. We use the scanners to display the gappers list for you. You can also use that live throughout the day to understand what's moving and what might fit your strategy. It's completely customizable, and it's something that you can use for your own trading. If you want to join us as a member in the room, we're always happy to have you. We've got a number of membership options available for you, from an introduction to monthly membership options to our annual membership, which is always the best deal. So hopefully we will see you here soon in the Bear Bulls trading room. With that, let's set some levels, and then we'll take a look and see what our moderators are watching themselves.
All right, absolutely. Thank you, Peter. Guys, let's hop into this one here. So far right now, not a big list. Again, big gap up, big gap down list this morning, but not a lot that looks great on here. We're gonna go with plug. We got Tesla. Oh, look at Tesla's drop, man. Tesla is really, I mean, it's still green. I mean, we're almost $4 from the highs here, and we're still in the green. So we got a nice gap up this morning, but we're kind of giving it back here. So great activity. That's just creating so much volume for us, man. 4 million shares traded so far, and just barely up 1%. Looking to go red the way this is going right now. Anyone trade this pre-market? I mean, this almost looks like a mountain pass, Peter. Almost. Almost. The wicks are a little bit scary here, but man, this activity is just wild. So there you have it. It's dropping down nicely. AMD also got a great pre-market activity, got great volume this morning. So that's why that one's on our list. And Nvidia kind of dropping down as well. Is the overall market selling off a little bit? Not really. Not really. So interesting that those guys are heading south so aggressive this morning. A firm also dropping a bit here. I think this would be a good possible. And then we have AI. And again, not a great pre-market action, but maybe in the market open can give us some opportunity like it did yesterday. Insane breakout there yesterday around 11 or so. All right, let's get levels in place, guys. We'll start with plug this morning. We got a nice gap up today. We are sitting at 1204 as our pre-market high. So we will slam a level there. And then we're going to look to the left here on the daily and get some levels as well. So we're zooming to this area. March and April, we do have a nice level here around 1286. Another great daily level here around 1398. So that's just an area there. So two really nice levels towards the top there. I would like to mark this week here. Here's the reason why it's not a huge level, right? I like the levels where you have a couple of days hitting that resistance and changing in direction is good, right? When you change in direction, that is a good sign. That means that level has a lot more strength. But this one here does have a little bit going on. Opening a couple of days, opening and closing here, plus this wick of rejection. If we do get there, right, 1234, we might see a little stalling action happening there, right? So that might be worth keeping an eye on. Now, this is another level I'm seeing here on the daily as well, where you got a couple here that look pretty good. And I like this one here where the price action is right now. There's a lot of activity, guys. Look at this here. Almost there, here as well. So there's a lot of action. This 1180, even in the pre-market now, we popped up. We're seeing resistance right there, broke out of that, and now it's acting a little bit as support, trying to hold that. Although right now the nice downtrend there at the moment, but that looks interesting there. You definitely want to have that level marked on your charts as well. Towards the bottom, highs and lows for the last two trading days got you covered. And if we look below that, just in case, do we have anything else? No, we're pretty good. Highs and lows for the last two trade days. Previous day closes on here. So you are all set unplugged this morning. Great volume. Wow. Look at Tesla. Any news? Is any overall market news out there? Anything on the squawk? I mean, this seems very aggressive. Or are we just reacting to the PPI numbers? Or are we late in the reaction? It's just interesting how we're reacting like this.
You
Um,
know, there's always a lot of news on Nvidia. Sorry, on Tesla. I'm just trying to filter through now. I don't really see. I
yeah,
mean,
Nvidia too.
a couple articles concerned about the price wars, how that's going to affect Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
Elon suspended a couple accounts from some critics in Twitter, but like I don't really see any real news that would cause this. I'm not sure what's moving it
Mm,
this morning. It's
interesting.
maybe Elon's selling more stock himself.
Did he buy back at the bottom? I hope he did. I
I,
hope
think,
I hope he
don't.
bought the dip on his own stock here because
I
that
don't
was
know.
very well timed, over at 100 and something. So,
Well,
yeah,
and look, we said this a few times, but just keep in mind, even despite this volume, the volume that we're seeing now, this can be dwarfed by the opening candle volume. So, which means that this thing can move in a radically different direction. It might continue going down. It might pop right back up in the first minute and recover all of this loss. So, we just don't know. So, just be careful if you're making assumptions here. I mean, trade smart against it, and hopefully you'll find some good opportunity. But it is impressive right now.
yeah,
Like you
very
said, still
active. Yeah,
green, right? Despite
still
this move
green.
down, shows you just how much it gapped up on low volume after hours here for it to have dropped this much and still be
Yeah,
green.
yeah, absolutely. And again, if you we're sometimes get caught up, not caught up, but as intraday traders, we're looking at very tight time frames, 5 minute, 1 minute, 15-minute charts. But if you look at this daily, I mean, this move is nothing compared to what has happened in the last couple of days, right? It's a
Yeah.
drop in the bucket here, but for us, as far as day trading, $4 move, it's a $4 move, right? So it's that's
Yeah.
good for us. So there you have it on Tesla, 264.87 high of the pre-market. Previous day closes on there. We also have our highs and lows for our last two trading days as we continue to drop here. This thing has moved so much. You can actually find levels here as well, right? So if you look at it yesterday, you have this 262. It's a good one. That's what actually we opened up today. And then you see there's a little bit of support try to happen there, couldn't hold, and then you got the nice little drop. So we might have something there just because this thing has moved so much. And even here yesterday on the daily, if you look at this area around 255, there's also, yeah, 255.71. You also got a lot going on here, right? So you might also want to add this levels on there as well. 255.71, good area support and resistance in yesterday's price action, which is a nice midpoint, right, between the previous day close and the low of yesterday, right? So you got some nice area there for you to have. Let's take a look at AMD, guys. 3 million shares traded and climbing, doing very, very well this morning. On our levels, we have our high of our pre-market 128.90, and then the low of the pre-market is going to be down at 125.51. Once you put those two in, don't add, don't, I'm not telling you what to do, but you don't really need to add anything else because you have a lot of levels on here. You're just going to make this more saturated than what it needs to be. You're pretty set, man. You're covering all the way to the top of the range yesterday, the bottom of the range yesterday. We're smack in the middle of it, and everything else, highs and lows from the last two trading days are surrounding you. I mean, you're set. You're done with this. You're good to go and ready to trade that thing at the open. Here's Nvidia. Nvidia also dropping down this morning. This pre-market session here, we have a 214.50 is the high of the pre-market towards the bottom. We're creating a new pre-market shortly here, it looks like, but we're going to mark down 504. 405.56 at the moment. And then similar to AMD, we're surrounded by the highs and lows of the last two trading days. So I don't think you really need to add anything else there. Let's head to the left. We can add this little spike up here on 419. Yeah, 419. And I think you're set on NVIDIA. There you have it. And as I mentioned before, got a couple of possibles here. Affirm, and you have AI. AI is not looking great right now. Very light volume. We'll wait for the market open or any time in the day. Maybe some action can continue to happen there. All right, excellent. Let's take a look at our moderators list, guys. And then we'll hand it off to Brian. Brian, who's will be joining us this morning, and Andrew trading live as well. We'll hand it off to those guys. But let's see what we got our moderators list looks like today as we bring this over. And guys, if you haven't done so already, we actually hit 145 yesterday. When I was setting up the show for this morning, I look at the previous show because we copy some information over, makes it easy. And we hit 147. So thank you. Somehow towards the end of that, we got our goal. So right now sitting at 80, we'd love to be at 145 is our number, guys. It does help us out a bunch to keep this show going on YouTube. So we appreciate it if you could support us in that way. So thank you so much for that. Here, guys, watch list, Rafsila, rinse and repeat, Tesla, AMD, and AI on his list. He's copying and pasting from yesterday. Peter, no IPOs, no SPACs for today. Peter's looking at AMD, Tesla, Apple, Plug AI and Lee. And Susan looking at Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Nvidia, AMD, Microsoft, and Google. Still narrowing it down. I was gonna say, Susan, that's probably the longest list I've read from you in a long time. Like, well, I'm like, Tesla, where does it end? Okay, there we go. So she's still narrowing things down. Okay, good. We'll wait for a few more moderators. Wait for Brian to throw out his list. But it's gonna be a good day. Peter, anything else that has popped up on your end?
Yeah, nothing new that's popped up. Yeah, I should say we've had a big long dry spell here on IPOs. Not a big season for them. Normally we get a few in the spring here. It's early summer that get announced, but yeah, it's been very, very quiet. A couple of weeks since we've had anything real. So yeah, I'm just waiting for those. I'll keep letting you know if and when we're expecting some, but for now, yeah, pretty quiet.
Yeah, seems. Yeah, you're right. I haven't read out anything, and usually it's funny because they'll report it and they'll sit there for like a couple of days when they actually get released or whatever. So we haven't seen that in a while, that's for sure. All right, excellent, guys. We are all set. Guys, remember, New York, link is there in our YouTube chat. You do not have to be a member of the community to come join us for the live trading summit in New York. And also, there's so many things that we're offering. We had the New York stock. We had the giveaway on the tickets, or a ticket for membership or a free event, right? So that was won by Andy. So Andy, congratulations. And now we have the New York Stock Exchange exclusive tour, so you can be able to join that. So which is real nice, man. I did it with Andrew. Man, it's a lot of fun. It's a great history, and it's nice to be there at the market open and to see everything that's going on. It's really, really good. So this is a great opportunity for you to try to get to join that. All right, here's Brian. He's going with Susan's list. Okay, there you go. He likes his list, and we are all set. Guys, take care. Have an amazing trading day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, a big time frame, 2 p.m. today. Fed minutes come out, and then 2:30, Fed does his thing. Powell does his thing. We'll see how that drives the market.
Yep, that's the time to watch. So be careful on that. Trade smart, and we'll see you all back here tomorrow morning. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Carlos.